Hmm.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of the RGM podcast. I'm here in my little yellow booth here in Manchester on my birthday, having a drink with a band, ladies and gentlemen, that are just going through the motions at the minute, and with Jen and Sean from Jen and the Degenerates. Hi, guys, you all right?
Yeah, we're good. It's a mouthful, isn't it?
It is a little bit. It is my first drink, though, I promise you as well. It's my birthday, so I'm allowed. So yeah, hi. Thanks for joining us again, Jen. I'm really enjoying the journey of the band. The first time I ever saw you in real life was down at Off the Record when you went to the one of the forums that we were in.
Yeah, I
In and,
remember.
in and amongst the, I remember you being very vocal with asking excellent questions to the panelists and just being a real personality. And I came up to you after just to say hello because I thought you were great.
Oh yeah, no, I remember that. That was a good day. Yeah, I was just trying to take the opportunity to like learn as much as I could
Yeah.
whenever I'm at that place. Those kind of things. I'm always really
Mm.
interested to see what people have to say.
Yeah. Where do we find you today then, guys? Where are we?
In our flat.
And where's that?
It's in Liverpool.
Oh, in Liverpool. You live in Liverpool. Oh, brilliant. Okay. So I
We
just
do
want
have one of us is in Manchester. Jay, our bassist, lives in Manchester, so he's probably somewhere nearby.
Oh, okay. Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, I just wanted to go back a little bit and delve into both your music histories, really. So, Sean and Jen, just talk us through your journey and how did music grab you, and particularly how did you make the decision that you're going to go into this fucking horrendous music business of ours and try and make a career out of it?
Well,
Do you want to go first?
well, I feel like you should start because you guys, so the band was kind of already all knew each other.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me personally, I got into music pretty early. Started quite seriously listening to music around 7 or 8. Getting into kind of, kind of the more mainstream like alternative band stuff like Green Day. And then got my first guitar at 9.
Mm.
My dad and my grandpa both play guitar, so it's kind of a thing. Um, and then yeah, I guess sort of struggle with that for a while because I think when you're not actually playing with people, it's hard to motivate yourself with that, I think. And then at high school met Jay, who's in our band, and a couple of other guys, and
And
started.
Evan,
We knew
well,
Evan.
you met Evan, but he wasn't in your band.
Yeah, and we started just playing like basically like metal in a garage, in Jay's garage together, and then that was it. Like everything else flew out the window. Xbox, everything, like all the kind of shit that you do when you're 13, like all that went out the window, and it was like just play music. That was it. And I think I already wanted to do it before then. Anyway, I was already like, that's the thing that I want to do. That I want to be is a musician, or more accurately a rock star, I suppose.
Yeah.
To be more specific. And then yeah.
It's weird. It's weird in it music when it kind of when you find music, you know it's never going to leave you, don't you? I've said this over many podcasts, and it's a bit cheesy
Yeah,
to say, but it's real. It's a real thing. It's a real emotion, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Our cat's complaining at us because he's not getting any attention.
Yeah.
Mine's downstairs complaining at me at not getting any attention as well. So
So yeah, if anyone can hear forlorn meowing, that's also.
That's good. That's good. So, what about your journey, Jen?
So I basically just wrote songs by myself. I've been kind of singing always. I was quite like an odd kid.
Really, I've never been.
I got one of my parents' days, my teacher told that, like, year 4 teacher told my parents that I was too bohemian and they needed to iron it out of me so I could so I would function better at school. They didn't.
How did what is a bohemian child? Describe that experience to me.
Well, this actually leads me. This is one of the things I used to
Yeah.
sing. I used to sing everything I did. So I've always sung, but it was not. I mean, it was more of a pest. Like it was more of like an annoyance for everyone around me for the first part of my life. Like I'd be like, I'd walk up the stairs, be like, I'm walking up the stairs, 2 steps, 2 steps for like just this constant. Like there's videos of me. It must have been unbearable, honestly.
I still do that to myself. I'm 25.
Cute at the start, but you can see it starting to get a bit annoying after a few years.
Yeah, literally. So I was like that, and then managed to eventually channel that into some actual songwriting, which was, I think, a relief to everyone. And then I just wrote songs by myself for a long time.
So the Bohemian, just sticking with the Bohemian bit though, how did that manifest itself? Just talk me through like how that was at school, and you know what
they
might have meant by it.
Uniform, so I'd always come to school in like combinations of like pajamas that I thought were comfy and like dressing up clothes.
Okay.
And I never stopped talking. Very yes, just like never deliberately malicious and never deliberately trying to cause trouble, but just it was like my brain, I just didn't understand. Like, for example, once I got told off and I got put in detention at lunchtime, and the detention was like this big hall space, and it was only me there. And so I just started doing cartwheels because I didn't see any reason why I shouldn't. Like, I wasn't trying to be naughty. I was just like, I've got all this space, so I'm a bit bored, so I'm going to do cartwheels. And that got me in more trouble. So it's that kind of thing of just not really, just, very, very, I don't know, in the moment, impulsive, maybe.
It annoying how, like, society tells us we need to be a certain way when you're just, innocent, just wanted to do a fucking cartwheel.
Yeah.
and someone deems that like inappropriate.
Yeah.
It was an horrible place sometimes, isn't it?
Rules at home, so I think it was a bit of I was confused because at home I like ran free. I like spent all my time in the garden. I never wanted to wear clothes. I just wore wellies all the time. Yeah. And then I go to school and suddenly there were all these things I was supposed to do and know already that I didn't know. Yeah.
I can't believe you didn't wear clothes because they were uncomfortable. You wore wellies. Wellies are really
I like wellies.
Let's get to the bottom of this.
Especially on bare skin.
You know what? I did always used to wear them without socks, which is something I look back now and I'm like, what was I doing? But I hated socks. I liked wellies.
Wellies without socks is worse than socks.
Yeah, I don't know what I was playing at really, but I don't know why I did that. But
I want to stick with the wellies thing, but I don't think there's any point.
there is no.
There's nothing else to find there, is there? Fair enough. So I have to be being described as a Bohemian child at school. Then how did music start to get into your blood and that kind of stuff? Then.
Well, my dad and my mum both into music. My dad especially, like he's really into old school blues, and he's into like a lot of like virtuoso guitarists and songwriters and that kind of stuff. And my mum also loved like singer-songwriters, so I kind of picked up the songwriting thing from listening to that, because that would always be on in the house. And apparently, I don't remember this, I asked my mum, I decided I was going to write a song as a kid, and I came and asked my mum, what can I write songs about? And she was like, whatever you like. just crack on. And I did. I remember thinking that was quite inspiring, the fact that there weren't really any rules to it. I suppose it appealed to me, having the conflict of rules I didn't understand at school, to be able to just do whatever I wanted with my songs. Became a good outlet for things as I became a sulky teenager. It became a good outlet and ways to process and understand my experiences as I got older. And then I came to uni and I met the boys, and they were like, "Oh, you're quite good at that. Do you want to do some songs with us as well?" And I was like, "Yeah, right."
Okay, so you kind of joined Sean's band then at the time.
Well, no,
it was more of like
basically, I think we all kind of like made music in different capacities here. Like I'd already been in 2 bands with Jay, our bass player, and then me and Jake at like college and uni, Jake's our guitar player, we just recorded our own songs for like different things, whether it was like heavier kind of metal, like modern metal type stuff, or hardcore, or we were doing like songs with Jay that were more kind of alternative rock stuff, and then we kind of met Jen and we hung out and became friends, and she was like, oh well, I do these like acoustic songs and do open mic nights and stuff, and we were like, oh we'll record them for you. And it started out, it was less a band, and it was more just me and Jake being like, oh, we'll like produce the songs that you write, and then it just kind of by accident turned into a collaborative band of like kind of equal parts.
Yeah, we weren't really a band until we'd left, like kind of the very last bit of uni and left uni. In fact, I think it was the final member Evan joined after we'd already left uni.
Yeah, it was.
But we'd all just hang out. That's just what we did to like pass the time. Is we'd get cans and sit in Jake's, much to his chagrin because it always ended up really messy. We'd sit in Jake's uni room and just write songs together, just for something to do, really.
Yeah.
And were you called the Degenerates then, or did that all come? The name of the band, did that come after?
I think it all just
was. I can't remember.
It's it probably appeared at some point.
It is quite a blurry time, as universities often want to be.
Fair dues.
Yeah.
And how did you get your name in the front of it then? How did that come?
I don't know. There's various. I can't remember.
Sheer luck.
Yeah, I can't remember how we decided it. We've got a friend who claims that they thought it up when they were drunk.
Who's that?
Joey.
Oh.
Joey claims that she thought of it.
I'm not sure about that.
I couldn't tell you, to be honest. But we have a someone claiming it as their creation. So maybe they'll
a different band somewhere
back in a few years and demand a percentage. But
there's another Jen and the Degenerates somewhere in the world.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. No.
There's not many Genevieves to start with, so there's not that many to become then Degenerates. And I feel like usually the socioeconomic positioning of most Genevieves is probably not the kind of people who are going to become Degenerates.
I wouldn't expect so.
I think the rest of them are probably even posher than me.
Fair enough.
Which is pretty posh. It's hard to do.
So we are in this music industry, and it's renowned for being one of the hardest industries in the world. And I can remember following you before, your successes of your recent tour with Skunk Anansie and everything, where you were really frustrated with the opportunities that were there for particularly women in the music industry as well at that point. I can remember seeing posts about how hard it is and that kind of stuff. Am I going to give up? I'm going to carry on, that kind of stuff. I remember you being very vocal about that online. How do you feel that is now compared to how it was back then, like going back maybe 3 or 4 years or whatever?
I mean, I think it probably is still pretty difficult at that entry level. We just ended up putting on our own shows. That's what worked for us, and then built up a fan base that way. I think a certain amount of like things like TikTok have kind of democratized like music a lot more. Like you can just kind of put in a lot of graph there and build a following there, which there was social media and stuff before, but I think that's been the most potent thing for the music industry in a while, the development of that. And then I think once you get past a certain bit, you're still facing challenges, but they're different challenges. And there'll be different challenges based on all the various intersectional parts of your personality. So, for example, there might be another person who identifies as a woman who has a completely different experience as me. Like a Black woman might have a way harder time. Like I know our label mates Nova Twins had a really hard time being taken seriously as a rock act because they were not only women, they were Black women. So people would often try and, pigeonhole them into another genre or something. So I think there are always challenges, and it's they're reflective of the challenges that everybody outside of the industry is facing as well. So yeah, it's not something that's going to really disappear in 3 years, unfortunately.
So is it not necessarily more difficult for women these days? It's more difficult for people that identify as whatever they want to identify as, using whatever pronoun they want to be. I
mean, I think that's definitely a challenge, like being perceived in the if you're not in a binary gender, I think that can be really difficult. I think it still is difficult for women, but I think our personal challenges has changed. I think people who are in the position we were in 3 years ago are probably facing similar challenges to us, but we're now slightly further along. So we're not having people go, oh no, you can't play our show, our basement show or whatever. But, you get the flip side of maybe potentially tokenism is the thing that we're up against the most now, is people only wanting us on stuff because it fills a quota,
right?
which is, can be frustrating in its own right. And then I'm sure we'll get to the next level of the industry and there'll be another issue that we're pissed off about. Like,
Okay.
I think the reality is it's like different, there's different difficulties for every different group of people, whether it's whether it's race, gender, class.
Class is a huge one in the music
mental
industry,
health, disability, neurodivergency, any, and unfortunately the more cross sections you kind of overlap and tick off, it's the harder it's going to be. I think, for different reasons.
What was it like? What was it like growing up for you, Jen? Just not really knowing or settling on an identity. What was it like for you personally?
I don't know. It probably added to the fact that I was quite Bohemian. I don't know. I remember wanting to be a tomboy at one point and being like, that makes sense. And then I remember leaning really into being feminine a bit when I got a bit older, like into my teens, because I kind of realized that it could, it was almost like drag. And it also realized that it would help my career to be perceived that way. And then I think more recently, I've just been like, okay, well, I'm just gonna do what feels comfortable to me, and if it doesn't help my career, then there's no kind of legacy that I could leave with my career that would be worth living inauthentically. So that kind of was the thought process, I guess.
What I find absolutely fascinating about it all, I'm a bloke of a certain age. I've turned 44 today, and the whole discussion around pronouns, I don't see why people get angry about it. I don't see, even like there's a lot of blokes in the music industry at my age that don't get it, but you don't have to get it. Why do you give a shit? I don't understand the whole. I don't know, the negativity that surrounds it. People just let people be what they want to be. I just don't get it. I don't know what more to say.
It's a small ask, really.
Yeah.
I mean, like you say, in the music industry, wasn't there recently one of the bookers, the one who books for Bloodstock, there was a whole controversy over that because she'd sent an email to someone saying, complaining if any acts like asked me to use the, specific like pronouns, like they pronouns or whatever, blah blah blah, all this. And people kicked off rightfully, because it's a small ask, really.
It is a small ask, and but I can in a little way understand people my age or a bit older that don't understand it and question it just because they don't know anything about it. It's relatively new to them, and I think it is. I think some people in my generation do get hounded quite a lot because they're not very articulate. They're probably saying things the wrong way. I'm a big advocate to let people make a mistake with it. So, I'm sure when I've interviewed people in the past and I've chatted to people around sexuality, whatever it may be, that I've stumbled across sentences and not said things the right way. And I think there should be a safe space to allow us to be to make mistakes too, as part of the whole conversation, just to make things easier for everybody.
100%. I mean, mistakes are the only way that anyone ever makes progress.
Yeah, you can't have progress without mistakes. Like, I think it's that thing of like you have to let people make mistakes, but also then those people have to be happy to be corrected. I think.
Yeah.
Well, I'm always happy to have a conversation about things as long as the conversation stays respectful, and I think that's kind of the way you've got to be. Just in general, social media is a big issue because you can't read tone. It polarizes people. Yeah. You have to condense really complex, nuanced things down into bite-sized chunks, and it's performative. Like, I think that's something that people forget a lot about social media is you're not just saying this to that person. You're saying this to that person in an audience of hundreds, potentially thousands of other people. And so often you find the people who are getting the angriest aren't even the group that's, you know, dealing with the prejudice. It's someone who wants to look like they're on the side of the people dealing with the prejudice. So, for example, if someone might have misgendered someone by accident, I think it's rarely the people who've been misgendered getting furiously angry with someone who's just, you know, it's a genuine mistake. And it's often, you know, cisgendered people who want to go, look how like what a great ally I am. I'm going to be really horrible to this person who's made a genuine mistake, so everyone knows what a great ally I am, and I can win the Liberal of the Day badge.
But everything just seems so separated. Politics, postcodes, music types, what social media posts you put out. Life shouldn't be left or right, should it? There's got to be a different way of us as humans communicating together and having conversations, and that's why I've changed my podcast to go more conversational instead of like a lot of interviews are just like 15 minutes things and the stupid questions, and they'll just ask you about your band, where did you get your band name from, and blah blah blah. That's it. How's your album? Yeah, tick, check, next, off type thing. But that's why I wanted to have conversations with people and learn myself. For one, I know I need to work on my communication skills, and this podcast helps me. And I love speaking to new people all the time, and this podcast goes out every week, so I have to force myself into conversations as well sometimes to understand people and to understand what the world's like these days. It's a fascinating place, a divisive, horrible, nice place at times.
100%. It's a pretty wild time to be alive, to be honest.
Are you enjoying it at the minute though, guys?
Yeah, having a great time right now. It's horrible to say considering the context of world events, but we're having a ball.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. What are you binge watching at the minute to make it a bit lighter? Are you watching the Johnny Depp trial?
We're not. Well, I'm not.
No, I've not. I've seen some tweets and stuff about it. I'm really hesitant to, you know, have a public opinion on it, because I feel like with celebrities, spin doctors and stuff, you never really know what's going on. Because it does look like she's more in the wrong, but is it just because he's more famous, he's got more money to put towards a good PR team? Who knows?
Yeah.
It's a courtroom though.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why I'm fascinated with it, because it's real life, and both sides are going to equally be able to have their own say.
That's true.
I think it's fascinating, that dynamic, to be live and to see people's real life just exposed that way.
Yeah, true.
That is always fascinating. There's many, you know, a lot of things when people are really put on display in their kind of rawest form, it becomes a very fascinating document, I think.
Yeah.
The ethics of that are questionable, but it's always fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
You can't deny it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like why I want to watch Love Island. Like
yeah, okay, fair enough.
Do you know what I mean? Like I totally get that impulse.
It's why the best rock and roll documentary is Some Kind of Monster, because it's a band literally
falling to
pieces, breaking down and having to go through therapy. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
What are we actually doing at the moment?
You're watching that BBC drama thing.
Oh yeah, I'm watching a BBC drama called Giri Haji, which is like a police drama, like crime. It's like crime, yakuza, gangster, like sort of international drama. It's quite good. We're almost finished with Jane the Virgin.
Yeah, which is a great American adaptation of telenovelas, which is cool and very, very sweet. It's
a lot of fun. What else?
I'm watching Russian Doll with Natasha Lyonne on Netflix, which is good. I like that show.
It's really interesting what different people are binging at the minute. I just think it's a nice, easy way to understand characters a little bit more, what they're into. I've been watching a lot of serial killer stuff.
Oh wow! I used to listen to loads of true crime podcasts, and then I was like, right, I'm actually poisoning my brain. Like I'm constantly thinking about who's gonna come and kill me, so I need to chill out.
Well, I've been
so interesting though.
They're fascinating. I work from home now, since lockdown and that kind of stuff. So on my break and stuff, I'll just pop a bit of Netflix on and watch Ted Bundy or something like that. And there's a new one on about a serial killer now that I've been watching. I forget his name. It's a clown killer bloke. And my missus keeps walking in after work, and I've got these serial killers on, and she's like, "You're gonna have to start watching something else because I can't deal with this anymore." And she's right. It's kind of like you can get obsessed with things sometimes, can't you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
a very
for sure.
I'm like a very obsessive thought patterns kind of person. So
Yeah.
I'm liable to get too sucked into things.
Well, I saw a tweet from you recently, Jen, and I'm
always like, oh God, what have I said? Whenever
I'm just going to
someone's like,
read
I
it
saw
out.
this tweet.
I found this fascinating. It said, sometimes I mention I'm on my period when I'm on stage. So the women in the audience can see how the men around them react, engage if they're worth shagging.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Love
true.
that.
I do that.
I love that.
Especially, I thought it was especially effective for the Skunk and Nancy crowd because they're a bit older. So there was a little bit more of a good entertaining reaction to that. But yeah, I think it's very valuable.
Did all the men just pull up stupid faces and just like?
Yeah, well, if they squirm, you know that they don't really know their way around that area, and
right, okay.
No, they're not worth taking home.
Excellent.
It's a public service.
Any other tips for the daters out there watching this, Jen?
If they don't like my band, that's a red flag. Dump them immediately.
This is all just your version of the John Waters advice.
Oh yeah, if you go
home with somebody and they don't have books, don't fuck them.
Don't fuck them. It's a great quote. It's a good one. That's a very valuable one.
John Waters, wise.
So do you feel refreshed after the big tour with Skunk and Nancy now then?
We've gone straight into demoing, so now we're just like a different type of tired.
Sure. Just going back into this big amazing tour that you've been on, it must have been such an experience to be around Skin pretty much every day. What kind of experience did you have with her?
I mean, we got sick of them all by the end. No, I'm joking. They're really nice. They're really nice. Yeah, they're just really fantastic people to work with and also learn from because they all know exactly what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
And have just been, they've been a band for almost 30 years now, like on and off.
It's just a great opportunity to like watch the inner workings of like a big production like that day in, day out and see like how everything works and how like, if one little cog in the machine goes out of whack, it's like all the other cogs have to like, be half an hour quicker to like, you know what I mean? You've got like, everyone's got to work together. Otherwise the machine doesn't run. Kind of thing. But yeah, they're all really nice, super accommodating.
Yeah, on a professional sense and just on a personal level, really lovely people.
Yeah.
I cried a lot in Lincoln.
Go on.
In Lincoln because I had my uncle coming to watch and my auntie passed away a few years ago and it felt very poignant. That was such a big life moment and she wasn't there. So I did cry quite a lot and Skin gave me a hug and gave me some wine and
brought your family backstage.
And brought my family backstage and all of the others were very, very, lovely about the fact that I was an ugly crying mess and we all got really drunk and we had a great time.
Cass tried to kidnap Evan and stop him leaving because Evan wouldn't finish his drink.
Yeah.
It was good.
How did the opportunity come about?
Through our agent. It's something that we'd actually been
how did you get an agent? How did you get, just going back a little bit before that, how did you get an agent?
Oh, yeah. So all of our stuff is Marshall. We're Marshall everything. Yes. Marshall Live Agency, Marshall Record, all our PR, everything is Marshall. Our gear, everything. So that happened because a lovely person who used to work at Marshall, Charlotte, she doesn't work there anymore, but she did at the time, had seen us play the year before because she was used to be involved in running some shows and stuff with our manager back in the day. Like that makes them sound really old. They're literally younger than us. But so she knew them through them, and then he sent over some demos and she showed them to the rest of the Marshall team and they liked us, and then it all fell together really, really quickly for us. We were very lucky with that. So yeah, they're always like, don't take the first offer because they'll be trying to pull the wool over your eyes and blah blah blah. But for us, they were just like offered us a really nice development deal, and it was super lovely. And we were like, well, this is kind of perfect. Lucky us.
It's a great example of just, you know, feeling the strain of being in the industry, thinking, is it worth it? Shall I carry on? Shall I not carry on? Just by sticking with it, some kind of opportunity is going to come your way if you're working hard enough and you're doing it the right way. Which sounds like it's another example for you guys that working hard and sticking with it does work in the industry.
It does. I think that's like, so it took us roughly 3 years to get signed, and I'd say my best advice, because we were desperate to get signed that whole time, because obviously you want money behind you, and when you're a band who don't have, you know, spare income,
it's the hardest hurdle to jump.
That is the hardest hurdle to jump. So we were desperate for it, and I think my best advice for people who are in bands wanting to try and get signed is just building your audience as much as you can and getting in front of as many eyes as possible, because it's all very well and good to go like, oh, no one's interested in us, no one's, you know, no one's supporting the band. It's like, well, have you shown anyone what you're doing? Like, make sure you're getting out there, make sure you're talking to people, and yeah, just focus on growing a fan base. And once you've got enough fans who are interested in you, industry people will naturally come and be like, oh, why are all these people interested in them? What have they got going on? So that's my best advice.
What was the first time going out on stage with Skunk Anansie like?
A mad rush.
It was crazy. We got to Nottingham a little bit late because we just like traffic and everything. So that particular gig was kind of a bit of a trial by fire, because we like didn't even have time for a sound check. Like, it was just full on, throw your stuff on stage and then just like jump on when the time comes, just like 5-minute line check and then do the set.
Yeah.
Did you meet Skin in the band before, or were they just doing their own thing and then for the first time did you meet
I accidentally met Cass and Ace because I accidentally walked into their dressing room because it was on the same side but one door before our dressing room. And I accidentally walked in and Ace was eating his tea, and I was like, oh, this isn't my dressing room. But they were very lovely about it and thought it was quite funny.
I think
I did that with Heaven 17 once, and the singer was meditating, listening to whale music.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But I was hosting a gig in Sheffield one day, and I just walked into the wrong place. So backstage is funny because it all looks the same, doesn't it? Back there, it's not glamorous, really. It's kind of like people like before when RGM started picking up. I just wanted to get backstage. But then when you go backstage a little bit, it's not the nicest place to be.
No, it's way nicer out front.
I mean,
for sure.
Some of the places we were in on tour, the kind of backstage area was like labyrinthine. It was like these old buildings with these Byzantine just like corridors and basements and stuff. Where you're like, how far do I have to walk to get to the backstage area? It's like, you know, it's like there's going to be a minotaur in your room or something.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I noticed from just catching your socials, and a friend of mine shot you in Sheffield, and we covered you at the Leeds gig, was did it feel like you upped your game because you had to, because you were supporting Skunk Anansie? Did you feel like it elevated you as a band somewhat, or gave you more confidence?
Yeah, definitely.
It feels from watching from afar that you grew confidence throughout the tour.
Absolutely. It was a really steep learning curve, that tour.
Yeah, it's just a different type of show that you've just not done before. Like the reality is it's just different. Like being on like the stage being bigger for a start is a huge difference.
Yes.
Like stages being 2 or 3 times bigger than any stage you've played before, or like, you know, just having that much room, projecting yourself, performing big enough to get across to that like amount of people. It's like that thing in like theatre where there's like there's a difference between film acting and theatre acting, and like theatre has got to be bigger because like someone up in the gods can't see a single tear like drop down your face. Like it's just different, right?
Yeah.
So I think, you know, we just got over the course of the tour just got more used to performing in that space. And like, I mean, I certainly got more used to like using the whole stage and running around and doing that sort of stuff.
So what are you going to take from the experience into the next chapter of Gen and the Degenerates then?
We learned so much. I feel like actually the performance is what we adapted to quickest.
We always have that.
Yeah, I think the things that I've learned are quite boring.
Yeah, they're not very sexy stuff.
I mean, one of the thing that I will never stop doing is, so Skin had lost her voice just before, and she'd gone away, and she had all these tips. So when my voice got sore, she told me all the things she was doing to look after her voice. I didn't lose my voice I didn't even really push my voice or get my voice tired the entire tour. It was, it was amazing. So that's something I'll always, I'm always going to use those like warm up and voice preservation techniques that she taught me. She even gave me a pink straw, like a big pink straw that you like blow bubbles through, and that's like part of how you warm up your vocal cords.
Okay, so it's like keeps the tubes lubricated and
so you do like a low hum, and it like starts like very gently warming them up, and you do it like every 10 minutes for 2 minutes for an hour, and then by the time you go to do your vocal warm up, you're already kind of there. Like it's already started warming up, so that was great.
Yeah, stuff like that, and stuff like Alex, the stage manager, like telling Ev like how to make a drum loom so that all your drum cables for your mics and your drums are just like all together and ready to go, and did like proper cable storage and stuff, and
just being a professional.
Make sure it's all really unsexy stuff.
Yeah,
it's like the main thing that we learned. But it's important stuff because it keeps the machine running.
Yeah, definitely. So you're demoing now then?
Yes.
So new tunes on the way. I've seen you playing some This Feeling festival gigs and that kind of stuff coming up as well.
Yeah. So
looks like you've got an exciting summer ahead.
Yes, definitely. I'm really excited. We've got loads of great stuff. Some stuff come through recently that we haven't announced yet that I'm even more excited for.
Okay.
So we can't say yet, but it's really just eyes peeled for that, because that would be cool.
Yeah.
We'll be sharing on RGM. Can't wait to see it.
Amazing, thank you. But yeah, we're really excited. I love the change of pace that you get with being a musician. I love that you can be on the road and then for a month, and then demoing for a month, and then festival season for a month or longer. But I like that because I prefer that constant change. Like that works better for me.
It's like routines, but it's like one routine for a bit, and then so that gives you structure, and then you move into a different structure for another couple of months, and then into something else.
It suits me.
Well,
festivals are kind of the hardest, I think, because that's the least structured.
Yeah,
it's the most piecemeal is going to festivals here and there, so that's the most difficult. But
we're going to be sharing your stuff all across RGM. We love the journey of a band. We like telling these stories, and we really appreciate you joining us today for the podcast, guys. So
thanks so much for having us.
We very much appreciated. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy demoing. Can't wait to hear you.